We have a lot of the information online as well. So again, my name is Makalapua Kanuha Bankako, and I will serve as our MC for today. So aloha avakea kako. Yeah, welcome to our Department of Hawaiian Homelands, Maui Subsistence Agricultural Project Lease Orientation. So without any further ado, I know some of us have been waiting so long for decades, but today is the opportunity for all of us, those of you who are here, to really reach out. We have resources of tables here for you if you have any questions. But today is that opportunity for our ohana to get back on the land that Prince Jonah Kuhio Kalani'anaole had wanted us. So welcome to each and every one of you. And soon we'll hear from our Department of Hawaiian Homeland staff about 2 subdivisions, Honokōwai, which is located in Lahaina, as well as Pūlehunui, which is in Hu'unene. A total of 240 lots for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands beneficiaries and their ohana. What an exciting day today. Small kai manafo day, not wonderful day, it's a manafo day. A lot of energy, a lot of information that will be shared today. So may I make a recommendation that while you're here, take notes and then your questions, and our team is here to answer any questions if you have any. So without any further ado, we're gonna do how we do at our Department of Hawaiian Homelands. We always start with a pule. So at this time, I'm gonna call upon Michael Lowe to come and present our pule. Mahalo.
Mahalo Makalapua. If we can all please bow our heads in prayer. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we give you all praise and glory for this beautiful day here on the beautiful island of Maui. We thank you, Lord, for the blessings that you bestowed upon us each and every day, most especially, Lord, the opportunity for us to be here this afternoon to kuka, to learn about the opportunities that lie ahead for us with regards to Maui agricultural project leases and agricultural lots that the department will be working on in the coming years. We thank you, Lord, for those who could be here. We thank you for those who can be here online. We ask you, Lord, that you please bless those who may be on their way or who could not attend today. We just ask you, Lord, that you please be here in our midst, to please bless each and every one of us here. And we just give you all the praise and the glory in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Michael. Aloha ke akua. So next, I'd like to call up Hawaiian Homes Commission Chairperson and Director of the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. Chair Watson is the department's leader in the movement for more Native Hawaiian housing opportunities across the Pai'aina. So, family Pa'ipa'i Lima, Kali Watson.
That's good. Thank you. Aloha mai kako. Over a century ago, Prince Kuhio recognized the declining conditions of our people, the Hawaiian people, and called for immediate action. And this dwindling numbers and squalid living conditions motivated his campaign to revitalize our culture and rekindle hope. He was convinced that the only method in which to rehabilitate the race was to place them back on the soil, on the aina. And I believe today we're talking about achieving that by getting you back to the aina and using it in ways that's a lot more productive, and what we call subsistence agriculture awards, or where you use the aina and really what Kuhio intended in order to become rehabilitated. But what we're talking about here is more than just rehabilitation. It's about really in today's economy, survival. You know, when you look at the cost of food, which is skyrocketing, people unable to find affordable housing, as well as we have a lot of people leaving Hawaii. In fact, there's more Hawaiians on the continent versus here in Hawaii, and that was a recent occurrence. So the department with its program is trying to change that, bring people back home. And I think that's important because that's what Hawaii is about. It's its people, especially the people of Hawaii, the indigenous. So in order to change that, this is the kind of awards that I think will accomplish that to a certain extent, in that people will be able to grow crops, will be able to raise livestock to feed their families, as well as their neighbors, as well as the community as a whole. That, and being able to do that, this is one of the steps that I think is important that you participate in understanding what is being proposed today. With this orientation, you'll be able to me, make a more informed decision as to whether or not this is the kind of homestead you really want. I mean, working the soil, that's hard work. I mean, there's not too many farmers out there, but there are a lot of people that are looking for residential lots. So if you're looking for a residential lot, especially one that's in a situation that has a lot of amenities and stuff, we'll be doing that. You know, this particular island, we're spending over 300 million in about 6 different projects throughout the island. So it's an exciting time. And to me, it's providing you with choices. And really, you know, one of the things that I hate to see, which we see a lot in our existing homestead communities, are lots that have been awarded and are just sitting there. Partly because people are challenged, whether it's to get the financing for putting up a house, or in the case of agriculture, people are not really farmers. When you look at the original awards, they were more commercial size, 40 acres, what have you, even larger. And for the commercial aspect of agriculture as well as agricultural homesteading, that's something that's very challenging. We're making changes in that area, but for today, we're just going to focus on the Subsistence awards, as was mentioned, in Pūlehunui as well as Honokōwai. Wonderful locations. And I think if you do want to go that route, these are excellent choices for you. We'll be showing you how many lots on each location. Julie will be doing a presentation on the details for these particular projects, so as to make it not only easier for you to make a choice, but we also have experts from the University of Hawaii CTAR program, as well as the U.S. Department of Ag, that are seated in the back here, that you can sit down and get a sense for what's involved in doing an agricultural lot, as well as the different crops that might be more suitable for the areas that you may choose. While your lease of the land is only for $1 a year, it will cost money to do this type of development, especially if you want to build a home. Now, let me emphasize on that. That is an option. You don't have to build a home if you don't want to, especially if you already have a residential homestead lease. Because should you build a home on that particular lot, then it disqualifies you because you have 2 residential. So you have to give up or transfer your original homestead residential lease. We'll also be providing opportunities to meet with different third-party consultants regarding the lending program that we have. That will not only provide you with some guidance on what particular loan products there are, but more importantly, what best suits your situation. In addition to that, at the next one where we're actually doing the awards, we also have contractors available to give you and show you examples of the kind of housing or approach that you might want to use in developing a homestead, residential. The actual awards, and these are really important, so please note that and keep a record of it, is going to take place on June 20th. That's the awards where you actually get a project lease for the particular project. It's not going to identify the specific parcel, but you will be able to get a homestead lease for that particular project. But the more important date is May 22nd. That's when you have to submit a form that says, I'm interested in receiving an award. And so once you submit that on June 20, you will be invited to that event where you will actually get to choose based on your position on the wait list to choose a Project Lease Award. If you are fortunate enough to receive an award, then I sincerely congratulate you, because that marks the beginning of a new chapter in your life, one filled with hope, promise, and the fulfillment of a dream, reconnecting with the land that is your birthright. As you receive this Homestead Award, however, you're not just gaining land, you are embracing a legacy, a heritage, and an opportunity to build a future rooted in the rich culture and traditions of their Hawaiian ancestors. A lot of us out there, we've lost that because you haven't, I guess, grown up as, people that have worked the land. So one of the things that makes Hawaiians unique is their understanding of how to grow, how to treat the land and preserve it, as well as use it as part of an ahupua'a system that extends not only from the mountains all the way to the sea. That's another area we're really going to start to get active in the restoration of some of the fish ponds. There's just 51 fish ponds across the state. So the department, with assistance of experts, as well as the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, we're going to start taking back the fish ponds and start to restore them, like what has happened on Molokai and some other areas like in Hiakea on Oahu. So we're excited about that part. But again, getting back to your situation, this really is an opportunity to reconnect with your culture and actually practice it. So one of the important things that we must realize that this new homestead community that you're going to be a part of, that you're going to build, is that it's based on the principles of aloha, ohana, and kuleana. Now, what do I mean by aloha? Aloha, the love and compassion we share with one another, is the foundation of the strength and the unity. As you establish your new community, you're going to learn that it's more than just the blood relations, but it's really the connection between all of you. And so that's something that I think is going to be very important for you to appreciate. The ohana, that's a sense of family, which extends beyond blood relations, but also include all of those we hold dear. And especially in a new homestead, you will strengthen the bonds within your immediate family, as well as with the wider community. So remember that in times of joy, as well as challenge, your ohana will be your greatest source of support and resilience. Now, what do I mean by kuleana? Now, that's really, really important in the sense that that's on you. That's for you to take up that challenge. And it's the responsibility that you hold and is an essential part of stewarding this land and preserving it, not only for yourself, but future generations. Yeah. As you embark on this journey, embrace your kuleana to care for the land, but respect its natural beauty and honor its history. And by doing so, you ensure that the legacy of Prince Jonah Kuhio Kalane Anaole and our ancestors continue to thrive, and the land remains a source of life and inspiration for generations to come. And just remember the Hawaiian phrase, "I malama oe I ka aina, I malama ka aina ia oe." You take care of the land, and the land will take care of you. Aloha.
Mahalo, Chair Watson. So our next speaker is, well, he's not here, is Kalani Franda, and he is our the acting administrator for the Land Development Division. However, unfortunately, he had to go back to Oahu, and we did record what he said in the first meeting. So mahalo ke akua for modern technology, because we're not going to miss any information. So with that, further ado, please direct your attention to the screen.
This is just a breakdown. You've seen this before. Some of you may have asked, what happened to the 600 million? Well, about 511 million went towards infrastructure, which means that we take a piece of dirt and we put infrastructure on it. So we get water over there for certain kind of things. So like for over here, some of the areas you'll get water that is non-potable water for agriculture. Some of it you might get both potable and non-potable water. We also get roadways. We actually got to prepare the lots and subdivide it, etc. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. Amazingly enough, with the 511 for the areas that we're doing residential, we don't come in with the monies or financing for the vertical. We actually have partners that come in within, and they bring like about $2 billion worth of monies to the table. So we're only providing the 511 million. We also look at lands that are either close to current infrastructure, close to educational facilities, close to healthcare facilities. A lot of our lands that we got a long time ago was in far away from kind of the urban core. So we're trying to look for areas that we can be able to do things now. And then we also have financing services. These services do two things. One is it provides funding for us to be able to partner up with service providers that help us go through financial assessments, et cetera. And secondly, it provides for financing for down payment assistance. So these go as grants, et cetera, that can help our beneficiaries when they build houses. Next slide, please. This is just a breakout. You can refer to it later. This is in English. No, I'm just kidding. I'll make sure the other fonts are adjusted so you can see the information that was there. But this provides really a breakout of what we've been sharing with the legislature of how we've been using the monies and what we've been completing, what we're projected to complete, et cetera. And as you see, this is throughout the Pai'aina. So it's not just Maui, it's not just Oahu, it's just not Hawaii Island, it's across the board. And there's and as you know, County of Maui has 3 islands. So we're not going to forget Lanai and Molokai. So we still have work that we're doing over there, housing as well as agriculture. Next slide, please. This is just a map for reference on all of the 28 projects that we have throughout the Pai'aina that you can reference later when you go back to the videos as well as the PowerPoint presentation, which will be uploaded on our website. Next slide, please. And this just gives you a quick picture of all of the different types of development that we're doing all throughout the state, and shows you the inside, outside, agriculture, urban, residential, rural residential. And also I was talking with William, he was mentioning he grew up kind of on the east side, Honolulu. And I mentioned to him that, hey, we're going to actually have Hawaiians in Hawaii Kai on the marina. Whew, how's that? So, it's those types of lands that we're looking that already is close to infrastructure, close to educational facilities, and close to healthcare facilities. Next slide, please. One of the things that we're doing is being very creative. And I'm going to, in this next couple slides, it's really going to ask for your kokua. We have a Venmo. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Venmo. I just wanted to share with you guys your kokua and being able to support as we go before our legislature. So we go through, we take a look at the lands, we build the infrastructure, we work with developers, we work with contractors, and then we issue out and award the lots. Next slide, please. And in order for us to be able to deliver all of these, it really requires a lot of pilina, a lot of collaboration, a lot of relationships built. We've been so fortunate, and I stand here before you on the island of Maui, that we've been fortunate that your county council and the county of Maui administration has been so effective in working with us and really pushing how do we get our beneficiaries on the land? How do we get our beneficiaries in houses? And when we do that, we help the overall community because it allows for that other inventory that was planned for affordable housing to go to others as we take care of our beneficiaries. But what they've done is they've actually incorporated what's called a general excise tax set aside. So a percentage of what you pay we will collect over a period of a couple of years ago to 2030, roughly about 89 million. And that goes towards shared infrastructure. And one of the creative ways that we're doing it is, for example, on the island of Lanai, not too much resources over there, but the county is building an affordable housing project there. We're building right next to it. So doesn't it make sense that we do some kind of collaborative work as we pull from the resources that are coming from this side, on this part of town, all the way over here, that we work together because we're bringing it to the same general area. And so we're using that type of money to put into that shared infrastructure. So we are blessed that the county of Maui, both at the council level and administration, has been very supportive of the mission and vision of Prince Kuhio. So mahalo Maui. But it also requires other governmental agencies, state agencies, federal agencies that have stepped up to the plate to be able to assist us because they see the value of working together, of building pilina. We also have partnerships with service providers. As I mentioned to you, our staff can only do so much. So as we engage other partners out there, not only are they helping us, but they help us to help you to be there so that they can be our eyes and ears, arms and hands to be able to help further the mission. And then next is just how do we bring additional resources? And some of those resources come from monies that we weren't able to receive or get. We're looking everywhere where we can get monies. We're financing things. We're looking at federal government, but that's been kind of tough as well. We look to the state government to be able to assist us. Next slide. I'm not sure if it's on this. Next slide, please. Okay, let me pause right there. So we ask you right now, and we just finished the legislative session. As we move forward into summer and preparing for the next legislative session, a lot of these projects, especially the two that you're going to see here, will not be possible if we don't get additional funding. And that funding comes from being able to ask for support from the state government. So we need your testimonies to go out and assist us with that. But as I mentioned, we're being very creative. And part of the creativity is finding other ways to be able to find funding so we're not waiting. So when someone tells us no, we're going to find someplace else. So we just need your support to be able to provide those types of testimonies when we go forth and ask different entities for funding. Next slide, please. And I pause right here. This is probably one of those areas where we've master planned the entire ahupua'a. And so not only do we ask for funding, but we find ways to create revenue. And we're doing that across the board. You're going to hear in later months of different innovative ways that the department is moving forward to be able to raise our own revenue. almost in a sense to become a sovereign entity. So we're not relying on other resources, but that's a work in progress. For Honokōwai, we awarded last year Phase I. Phase II, we're awarding now. What this does is now it solidifies those lessees that are there. It allows for you to pass on to your successor, but it also allows for us to say, now we have a community in these different phases that we can go to the legislature and say, these people are waiting. We have plans in place. We've gone through our studies. We've gone through securing different resources like water and so on, and wastewater. And now we need your support to deliver the construction side of it. So and we're especially looking at Phase I and Phase II of the subsistence agriculture. Julie, I believe, is going to share more later on specifically about this, but these are roughly about 40 lots, 2 acres a piece, and construction will start roughly about 2030. Next slide, please. Pūlehunui, I know Julie will share later on about the details of this area. It was a little less, but we cut them up and made a little bit smaller ones into 2-acre lots so we can get more lots awarded out because our wait list is fairly long. And once again, construction starts roughly about 2030. Next slide, please. And that concludes my portion of the presentation. Mahalo.
Okay, yeah, you can pa-ikulimo for Kalani.
This is
God
just a
we have,
breakdown. You've seen
modern
this.
technology because we're not going to miss any information. So this next video that we're going to display is a beneficiary success story. So as you heard with Kalani, there's a lot of partnership with a lot of resources, and some of them are right here within this room. So this beneficiary success story is from a couple from Kauai who are the recipients of the Hawaii Community Lending. So please direct your attention to the screen.
My name is Jason Ahuna, and we are at home right now.
A home that we've prayed for, fought for, but believed for, but it's ours and we're home. Our backgrounds are pretty similar. We came from broken homes and just, having a poverty mindset. This is not for someone like us. When you financially know you're not ready, but you still make unwise choices with your finances because you don't know anything better. When I was starting my financial walk with Shanong and HCA, this wasn't even a thought. I got to share my story, a little bit about my story, about how we are on the wait list. And she was like, okay, so just make sure your address is updated and your name is updated because something's happening. I don't know when, I don't know where, but something's coming up. And I can tell you, 1 month later, we got one letter in the mail.
Jonah, for me, she made me see that it was all possible. She made me see that they were just an ordinary couple, came from a ordinary family that had a not so ordinary upbringing, and it really influenced me to want to change our story, to want to change our legacy, to be something for our children.
He really interceded for me when I felt in times that I wanted to give up. So peace was probably the biggest thing that he's given me, to stay in this freedom. We miss the mark. There are times where, we're humans. But he always would make sure that I knew it's gonna be okay. No, it's gonna be okay. Just trust the process. Trust the process. Remember, trust the process. All of our grandkids, all 5 of them, get to be in this house, get to, just call this place home. This is legacy for them. wow, it's so loud in here. He goes, I love it. I love it.
I do.
Like the kids yelling and laughing, crying.
I can hear all of their screams, and I can identify all of their screams, even when they're all screaming together. I love that.
That's a success story. And we're all ready to tell our success story, right? Yeah, pa'ipa'i ko lima for Jana and Jonah from Kauai. What a great. So mahalo for that. Anything is possible. And we have all the resources who are here to help you. And the department and other resources are here to make sure you have the help you need, beneficiaries. So please engage and ask the questions because they're here to answer it. So at this time, we're going to have from the Department of Planning, and this is Julie Cachola.
Oh, I know, short, yeah. Sorry. Aloha, everyone. My name is Julie Cachola. I'm a planner at Hawaiian Homelands, and I've been in the department for over 20 years. What that means is that these two areas that you're looking at, I was involved in master planning those areas. So I would like to share some of the information with you. I think I'm even more excited about you guys getting your leases because to actually see these plans come to fruition is really good. But I'd like to give you some orientation. What was the mana'o behind the master plan when we looked at this? Where are the areas that you'd be looking at for your subsistence agriculture leases? So Honokōwai, let's get orientation first. Let's see. Do you guys know where can I walk? No. You guys know where the airport is, right? Oh, you're gonna point for me. Okay, right there, the pointer is where the airport is, just to give you bearings, right? The main road is on your left, right? And it's right before the airport. On the bottom left-hand corner, that's the existing wastewater treatment plant, the Lahaina wastewater treatment plant, if you know that. And if you know the top right corner, that's where the water treatment plant is, a big reservoir that they have back there. Our lands are separated by Honokōwai Gulch. So it's like two different areas. Yeah. When we looked at Honokōwai, it was really about agriculture because Leali'i was going to be about residential. But when we engage our beneficiaries in planning, they also wanted to have residential here. So what we did was we saved the Malco parts for agriculture. So that's why you have the subsistence agricultural lots where that yellow area is with the red outline. That's where you're going to be having the project, the subsistence ag lots that you guys are looking at. Up on the other side is still more subsistence lots that were awarded in phase 1. So this is phase 2. Below that, we have the yellow area is going to be residential. And then the orange areas, they wanted to have multifamily residential, like kupuna housing, townhouses, that kind of stuff. So that would be closer to the road. The purple along the road is really commercial opportunities to take advantage of that highway and the traffic that's on it. On the bottom side, we just have more of the subsistence ag lots. This would be in subsequent phases. And on the red at the bottom, that's more like commercial area too. So it's a general lay of the land. We included small areas for parks so that, you can actually, it's a gentle sloped area. So you really have a beautiful view, right, of the beach and you're kind of high up. So we wanted to have park space where you could, have a picnic or something and not just be covered with lots. So we have areas where there would be some recreation opportunities. And you see the brown? That's the gulches. There are gulches in the area. So what we're going to be doing is stabilizing some of those gulches with vegetation so we can integrate that. The vines that look like vines, that look like glazed, that's kind of like the potential roads, road system that you would traverse. Let's see, I also want to point out that by the airport, there's Pūlehunui. Pūlehunui is a private development, so there'll be housing development over there. he's responsible to also construct an elementary school, so that'll be close by to this part. Let's see what else. So that's kind of the basic orientation of this. We're looking, Honokōwai is going to be looking at awarding 40 lots, right? Yeah, 40 lots in this current phase. Oh, I want to say, so the wastewater treatment plant on the bottom, they were dumping their effluent into the ocean. And I don't know if you know, so Maui County got sued, right? And they lost, and so they can't do that anymore. So what they're doing is processing the effluent so that it can be reused. And because water is so, facing drought everywhere, that we're able to use that processed effluent water for irrigation purposes. So that will reduce our need for water to irrigate our crops, for instance. So we're working on a situation with, or negotiating a deal with the county wastewater treatment plant so that they can treat the water and bring it up to our lands. And we can use it for irrigation purposes. That's one of the things we're working on. The other thing that's really interesting in this part of the water treatment plant, water is such a commodity here that we're actually treating our stream water for drinking water. We have wells that have sweet water. So we're going to be mixing that in so that we can have better potable water in the area. But those are the two infrastructure, not run by us, by county, that's right there on the parcel. So it gives us opportunities to kind of bring that in at a cheaper rate. And that they're, wanting to help us out. So the second place, Pūlehunui. We have actually 2 parcels in this area. You guys know where the Humane Society is? That's actually on the other side of the road. Okay, that's the Veterans Highway he's pointing out now. And so it's across the street, more down though, yeah. And that's what we call it our lens piece because it's narrow and it's just along the road. And that's going to be for commercial, industrial kind of revenue generating purposes, because there's a lot of money that passes by this road every day. But our south parcel, 646 acres, we're looking for homestead development. And also you see that big circle in the middle, it's like Pico development, kind of a central area for homesteads, community-based economic development, aggregation facilities if we're going to do crop development, a cultural space, educational space, business training space, right along the highway looking at community-based economic development. For instance, say if I wanted to make leis, right? And I have flower trees on my ag lot, and I can make my leis and put up a lei stand there or something, right? So we're working with other homestead associations on the island to look at what are the ideas here that this can be a revenue generating center to help the homesteads out. The lens piece is for the department though, right? We got to earn revenue too. But this piece, it would be more integrated with the ag community and our homestead community. Where you're going to see the subsistence ag lots is that yellow area outlined in red. We're looking at 200 subsistence ag lots at approximately 2 acres a lot in that area. So what we're doing is, again, the high density uses were more by the road and then going up to lower density uses on the top. The other thing I want to point out, there's a line that's going off. It says, I don't know what it says, future Kihei bypass. What we saw is that there's a lot of traffic that gets bunched up by Kihei. And you got the new high school, right? The high school that's on the top road, and they're going to build a mall, and it just dead ends there. It dead ends. You have to go back to the main road. So actually, we're looking at continuing that road and coming across our lands and coming in this area so we can bypass all that traffic in Kihei and go straight to our intersection. That will open up our lands again for more potential commercial activities or, and the other thing is we just got the Kamalani development, which is, yes, there. So we've got Monsanto in between, but on the other side of Monsanto is Kamalani, and it's going to be all residential, packed in there. So we anticipate them to be using this kind of community area for their community needs, because they're just going to be all homes over there at Kamalani. So that's kind of like the lay of the land, what's happening on this parcel. Let's see. We're working with the homestead associations to kind of come together and kind of develop a plan for that Pico area or what works. You know, maybe we do a luau thing. Maybe we, you know, what kind of ideas that they might have for income generation, community-based economic development that will help out our homesteaders. Okay, so this is the ag part of it. As Cully was saying, you know, agriculture was an integral part of the act, right? And it was that at that time, you know, Kuyo was seeing all these Hawaiians ending up in the urban slums, really. And she saw them being separated from their lands. So he really believed if you turn to the lands, our DNA is going to kick in. We're going to know what we're going to do. We're going to get back in alignment, basically, with the Aina, right? With restoration, with rehabilitation. Go ahead. Fast forward 100 years, same thing, we're doing ag, but a little bit different, yeah? So now we're focused on resilience. Like what happens if the barge doesn't come? What's gonna happen to us? You know, somebody was commenting today, no one was commenting that they were saying, if you cannot feed yourself, you cannot be sovereign. And that really hit home for me. It was like, that's interesting, that's true. If I cannot feed myself, how can we be sovereign? So an idea, but so different purposes. We're looking at sustainability, regenerating agricultural uses, right? Being able to enhance the land so that it can be sustainable for the future. And of course, food security, feeding our ohana. But you know how when you do that, when you have a big tree, a mango, I love mango, so I always think about mango. But you know, the idea, the vision, you know, like you have so much mango, you got to give it away. You know what I mean? That's the kind of abundance that we can look at. That's the kind of sharing we can look at, the kind of community cohesion we can look at. So agriculture becomes, you know, in a way our kuleana to look at our future. But really with subsistence ag, it really is your kuleana to do ag. What happened recently, well, in 2017, we changed the rules. At that time, we were focusing on residential, and we kind of didn't pay attention to ag. That's why, do you guys know you only have one ag community on Maui? That's in Keokea. That's 65 leases. So now this is going to open up agriculture for Maui, these project leases. But before, you had to cultivate 2/3 of your lot. You needed to have a farm plan before you even get a lease. So we looked at those and we changed the rules in 2017. We created this subsistence agricultural lease. So this is the one you need to pay attention to. This will be the requirements as a lessee. So it'll be smaller lots. It's under 3 acres. We've gone, I know that we did like Panaeva lots at 1/2 acre. That was plenty. So this one, I think they're looking at 2-acre lots. The farm plan is not required, right? So a farm plan was really a business plan. I still think it's a good idea to plan your plot out. So we were doing agricultural workshops, for instance, on the Big Island, helping them lay out where they want to put stuff on their lot so they can think ahead and make sure that the placement is correct. So you still want to plan your lot, but it's not like a farm plan, like a business plan. 2/3 cultivation is not required. However, cultivation is required. So people say, well, what about, are we required to build a house? No. You are required to cultivate crops, cultivate the land. That's your only requirement. The other thing we found in the old set of rules is that people wanted to raise chickens and some other kind of small animals too. And they couldn't do that under the old rules because agriculture was about growing plants, pastoral was the animal part, but the two don't mix. So when we did the subsistence agriculture lease, it allowed that mixture to happen. So you can grow crops and raise animals too, small animals, if that makes sense, on your ag lot. You got to take into consideration your neighbors and stuff, but now they have ways to kind of keep the smell and all that contained, but it is a different avenue. It is a different kind of lease. So you can, and then cultivate crops and build a home. You can build a home. You may build a home, but it's not required. So what that means is that to get this lease, you don't have to have your pre-qualification for a home loan because it's not required. You can, but it's not required. So that's the main things you need to know about the subsistence agricultural lease. The other thing I think that changed over time is that originally we used to just issue awards and leave you guys and say, good luck, see you, Now we're actually coming up with doing partnerships with other ag providers and agencies so that we can bring the resources to you. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So for one thing, we actually have a person in the staff that's dedicated to developing this agricultural supports for you folks. She usually does this presentation, and so I'm kind of shaky here. I'm just kind of sitting in for her. Her name is Lehua Abrigo. She's a homesteader. And two of her kids are graduating from college, so she's in the mainland right now. So I'm just like sitting in for her. But she tells me that how she looks at her job is that she wants to talk with you and hear all the stuff that you want to do on your land so that she can think about the resources that she can pull in to help you. And she describes that's what her role is to make that your dreams, what you want to do on your property, feasible, be able to bring the resources. We have other partners and resources, but there's another formal contract we have is with University of Hawaii College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resilience, and that is CTAR, right? So we pay the salaries of 3 full-time CTAR junior extension agents, one on Big Island, one on Molokai, and one on Maui. Maui never had one, but now we do. These people are in CTAR as junior extension agents, but they work full-time to help our lessees out. That's what their job is. But check this, because they are in UH CTAR program, they actually can access any of the other resources in the university system and bring those resources to help you. So it's a good opportunity. So we pay the salary and we have access to all of the wealth of resources within CTAR and the University of Hawaii. I want to introduce you to some of the partners on this side. If you didn't get a chance to visit with them on the tables, we have Akealo. You can raise. So he's a Fed man now. He's a federal agency, U.S. Department of Agriculture, the NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service. Why is this important? They've got a lot of programs. He can do a conservation plan for you. He actually has a lot of resources at his fingertips that he can leverage. Yeah. So it's a tremendous resource in NRCS. Thank you, Lakia, for coming. You guys can go check him out after. And the next door we have Noelani Peresa, who is actually with the county Department of Agriculture. So, your mayor created a new Department of Agriculture. We didn't have one before. I thought that was very cool when he did that. Not only that, I'm watching what they're doing, and they have a lot of different ideas and different programs. So Noelani is actually works with the grant side. So they do give out grants to farmers, right? To people doing ag. But her office does other things. And she just in lunchtime, we are talking story, and she has this idea about doing another partnership. So it's like really good ideas. And it's a new department, and they're kind of looking at all kinds of ways to help. So see Noelani. Yeah. And then I'll close by bringing up Gwen or Naone Morinaga Kama, who is our Maui CTAR agent that is dedicated to Hawaiian homelands, agricultural lessees, and this would be a primary resource for you folks. When you want to come up, oh, I should tell you, so her background, we're both old, we're both the same age. So she has her 2 bachelor's degrees in anthropology and agriculture. She went in South Dakota and got her master's degree in American Indian Studies. You know, she's been around and has a lot of mana'o and energy to help. So now you want to explain what you do?
So I thought I'd include this olala no eau. Ola no kamahiai I kahi pu'o'o. So a farmer can subsist on small broken potatoes. So whatever small broken uala you get, you can still live, yeah. So this is some of the work we've been doing at Keokea. They have a Malalani garden, which is next door to Grandma's Coffee House in Kula. So they're starting to put in native plants. We also do workshops over there. So one of the workshops is a hydroponic table. So that each table you can plant 50 starts, 50 lettuce, bok choy, watercress, and you don't need soil. All you need is this table with nutrient water in it, and you can produce enough for your family and your neighbors. So they have 3 tables up there. And we also do smaller systems in 7-gallon bins, 7-gallon and 17-gallon bins. So we do workshops in that. Another project that they're interested in pursuing is Keokea Kai Limu Restoration Project. So there is a group down in Keokea Kai, which is by VFW. Remember when you were a kid, you used to go down there and get limu? Well, you're lucky if you get a little sprig nowadays. So Keokea Kai is part of the Save the Wetlands project. So they want to collaborate and start growing limu and restoring the resource down there. Also, there are, in addition to the Kalepolepo Ko'iei'ei fish pond, there are 3 other fish ponds down there, one of which is called Keokea Kai, and another one is called Waiahuli Kai. So Keokea Kai is 14 acres large. So what they want to do is go from Mauka to Makai to provide food for the people. They're following the Ahupua'a system. Paukalo, their project is to restore, if you're familiar with Paukalo, they have the old armory, the National Guard Army. So they want to clean it up. There's a group helping them to decontaminate the soil. They want to do a community garden as well as a community center. And another project they have for the summer is Ohana Garden and Grinds, where you have 6 to 8 families. We'll teach them how to grow food in a small garden or raised bed, and they harvest. And then the end of the week, they actually cook with the produce that they grow. So that's a 4-week program that's coming up in the summer. Then there's Pūlehunui. We started doing basic hydroponic systems. These are the bins. This is a 7-gallon bin that you can produce bok choy and lettuce. So we're going to have workshops, continue with the workshops doing that. And then there's Honokōwai. We haven't started anything because it hasn't been assigned yet. So that's future plan. And I'd like to end with this, Naki kanaka mahi ai ka imu o nui. So a well-filled imu belongs to the man who tills the soil. So I want to congratulate you on getting possible lease to either of these homesteads. And if you need any information on the programs, I'm back there and I have a card. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui. Thank you, ladies. And I know that was a lot of information. What that tells us, though, is that we have a lot of resources. Yeah, so write down your questions, and they're going to be here because we're going to have an open house after we're done with our presentation. But our next presenter, our Homestead Services Administrator, he's going to come up here to talk about your kuleana as new lessees and the importance of naming a successor. So with that said, please, I'm just going to call him up, Juan Garcia, Pa'ipaiko Lima.
Thank you, Makalakpua. Yeah, very important topic, successorship. What is successorship? Successorship is the transfer of your interests as an applicant or a lessee upon your death. Now, I'll go over some similarities on successorship between a lessee and an applicant. So let's go first with the application rights. The rules provide you as the lessee to designate a successor, and you must do that by way of a written form from the department, and that form or designation must be filed with the department and acknowledged by the department. Those qualified relatives that you can designate as your successor, they must be 18 years of age, and they must be at least 50% Hawaiian. Again, 18 years of age and must be 50% Hawaiian. And those are the lessee's spouse, child, grandchild, father or mother, widow or widower of a child, a sibling, and then nieces and nephews. Like I said, you must file that designation prior to death. What happens if you don't file a designation? The department is mandated by the rules to publish a notice in the newspapers in general circulation within the state of Hawaii. That publication allows for those qualified relatives to submit a successorship claim to the application right. And that qualified relative must submit that claim within 180 days of the last publication. There's no grace period. Once the 180-day period comes, we basically close our doors, and then we will look at those that submitted a claim. And there's a priority. Spouse has top priority. If there's no spouse, then we go to the child. If there's no child, it's the grandchild. And then we go to the brother or sister. And then all the other relatives are of the same priority. Yeah, so it's important for you to do that now. If you haven't done it yet, we have a table here today that you can file or get information of designation. If you wish, you can contact our Molokai District Office to file a designation. Now, we talked about differences between an applicant and a lessee. You hopefully will have the opportunity to receive a project lease. This will allow you to designate a 25% spouse, child, grandchild, and sibling. So again, from an applicant, your qualified relatives all have to be 50%. But once you accept that project lease, you have the advantage of then designated those relatives that need to be only 25%. And again, spouse, child, grandchild, or sibling. All the other relatives need to be 50%. Likewise, with applications, if a lessee fails to designate a successor, again, the rules require us to publish a notice in the paper, general circulation within the state. And we usually do that twice a year, in June and again in December. And I forgot to mention that on the application side, we only do it once a year, and that's usually in November. So the publication is done in November. On the lessee side, we do it typically in June and December. And with respect to successorship through public notice of a lessee, the qualified relative must submit a claim within 120 days from the first publication. So the window for public notices with the lessee is much smaller. 120 days from the first publication on the lessee side. On the application side, it's 180 days from the last publication. Again, it's this slide basically illustrates the priority. When we go through publication, the spouse always have priority. If there's no spouse, then we go to the children. If there's no spouse, no children, we go to the grandchildren. If there's no spouse, no children, no grandchildren, then we go through the brothers and sisters and all the other qualified relatives that need to be 50% of all the same priority. So again, for example, if there's no spouse, there's no child, there's no grandchild, there's only a sibling. If a sibling submits a designation, then those widows or widowers of the children is of lesser priority. Our recommendation to the Hawaiian Homes Commission will be to designate the brother or sister. The designation through public notice must be approved by the commission. Next slide, please. Again, we talked about kuleana. You've heard the chairman, Julie, mentioned kuleana. As a lessee or an applicant, your kuleana is to designate a successor. You want that legacy to last from generation to generation. As an applicant, however, it's harder because your successor needs to be 50%. But again, hopefully you'll receive a project lease which will allow you, as a 50% Hawaiian applicant, you can pass it on to a 25% child. So it's your kuleana to do that. And we highly suggest you do that in an open discussion. Clear the dinner table, gather everybody, and tell them the reason why you selected this individual and not that individual. So there's no pilikea after. Everybody understand why the designation was chosen. As a reminder, you can always file a designation anytime. You can update it anytime. Just make an appointment with our Maui District Office, and we will be glad and happy to help you out. So again, we'll be here after the presentations are over to answer any questions or concerns that you may have. Again, mahalo for coming. Aloha.
Mahalo. Thank you, Juan. So really, what's next? Well, there's another video that Kalani had put together, so please direct your attention to the video.
Just wanted to provide for you what's next after this. So the Project Lease opportunity is for these two projects that we shared with you. And we just wanted to give you, once again, a quick rundown. You've heard it a couple of times of what the Project Lease is. Paper lease that grants you an undivided interest in an area subdivision. So that particular project for future development. It allows designation, as Juan had mentioned to you, transfer of lease to a qualified 25% successor, provides time. And then let me jump over to offer requirements. As Chair mentioned, there are no financial requirements for this particular project, so don't worry about it. We just got to make sure you meet the criteria, not criteria, but the deadlines. Offer requirements submitted to interested response form by due date. Next slide. Here's the due date. We changed it because we're like, okay, you know what? I think we needed a little bit more time. I think we gave you May 15th. So we added on a couple more days or about a week and said, okay, if you can turn them in by May 22nd, we just went change them after a chair came up here and said, hey, you know, I think we got to need 7 more days. So I said, okay, let's go add 7 more days. But this gives you a little bit more time to turn in your paperwork, the form, so you can get ready for this next one. Oh, not for this one, sorry. Not for the deferral. It's for, so you can participate in this. So first things first, to go back to the slide right before this. So if you can say it with me, we just changed it just to give you more time. What's the due date? May 22nd. One more time. May 22nd. So that's also for the people that are watching on the video. And you can hear it again, May 22nd, new deadline. Next slide. You can, if you choose to, and you want to. If you're no longer interested, you can defer it. So check not interested in the response form, return it. You'll remain on the Maui Island-wide agricultural waitlist. So if there's any questions, if you defer, you'll still remain on the Maui Island-wide agricultural waitlist. You will not be moved to the bottom of the applicant list. You will not. So just note, you're going to still remain in your location based upon the date of your application. And you may be eligible for future offers for agriculture. Next slide, please. Response form due date, once again, May 22nd. Project selection meeting, invitation only. So all of you that submit by May 22nd. When was that again? May 22nd. So sorry guys, get so much people that's so interested. If you turn them in May 23rd, too late. You cannot call us and go, hey, you know what? I'll turn them in May 23rd. Too late already. So got to May 22nd, okay? So May 22nd. And then you will be invited to the June 20th project selection meeting. Next slide. For contact information, this is our housing team. You can take a picture or you can go back. There's 2 ways that you can refer to this on the website. One is there's a PowerPoint presentation that's there, and the other is the video. You can watch us all over again. And I believe we have 2 sessions that you're going to see on there. So this is the information. If you cannot see back there, you can always go back to our website. It'll all be on there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, next slide. Once again, mahalo. We cannot do this without our partners. So we just wanted to mahalo all of these entities again for their help in coming alongside with us to partner to provide all of you more resources. And next slide, I believe I'm going to turn it over back to you.
All right. So with that, a lot of information that was shared today, and this pretty much concludes our presentation. However, like in the earlier presentation of Kalani, really what really makes it work for us as beneficiaries is that we continue on to reach out to our senators and our legislature, all of these people to lobby and talk about the water that we need so that we're able to know how to live and to thrive on our Department of Hawaiian Homelands as beneficiaries. However, with that, thank you folks all for coming out. Please do not leave without getting all of your questions answered. They are here. Make sure, please ensure that your pala is updated. You have your successor on it. And with that, we will see you at our next meeting. Please drive home safe. Malamapono and keakuapu. God bless all of you. Aloha.